Alright, welcome to the Algebra 2 Test 3 review. We're going to go over the 10 problems that match up with what's going to be on the test. And by doing this, we'll give you credit for some homework assignments, and then obviously redoing the test will raise your grade as well. So let's go ahead and just get started here. The first problem is actually, the information for the first problem is going to be connected to the second, third, fourth, and fifth question. So the kind of the first half of this test is going to refer back to the information that we're going to talk about here. And what the setup is that question 1 shows how much money one person is saving per month. So in this case, our person for the first question is Jesus. And so it says that after 3 months, he'd saved $575. After 5 months, he'd saved $625. And then if you look down at number 2 has a different table for another person, his sister Jordana, and it shows a different amount. And then what we're going to want to compare is how much did Jesus save versus how much did Jordana save. So let's just talk about Jesus first, and that's what this first question is looking at. So we don't know what he started with because they don't tell us what he started with. We just know after 3 months he had $575, and then 5 months $625. So we don't know, month 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're not quite sure. So that's what we want to figure out. We want to figure out two things. We want to figure out where they started. And if you look right over here at the top right-hand corner, slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, the b represents the starting point. So in this case, the b is going to represent how much money he opened the savings account with. The m, the slope, represents the rate of change. That's going to represent how much money he's saving each month, right? Because we're assuming he's kind of taking some money and putting it aside each month into a savings account. We want to know how much is he saving each month. So we have 2 points to work with. We have 3, 575, and then we've got 5, 625. And again, this represents that in month 3, because our x is going to represent months, and then our y is going to represent dollars. So 3 months, $575, 5 months, $625. Now to figure out the slope, we have a formula for that, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So basically we're just going to compare how is it changing, how is the y changing versus how is the x changing, how much money was saved over those 2 month period. So what we're going to do is we're going to label, since we have 2 pairs here, so we'll have x1, y1, and then because I've got a second pair, I'm going to call that x2, y2. And then I'm just substituting those numbers in. So y2, which would be 625, minus y1, which is 575, over x2, which is 5, minus x1, which is 3. So 625 minus 575 would be 50, and then 50 divided by 2 would give us 25. So our slope on this one would be $25. So what that means is that he's saving $25 per month. So this represents our rate of change. Now we don't know and we could kind of count backwards, right? 575, so that means in month 2 he would have had 550, right? We could kind of count backwards, but we want to figure out what he started with, what he opened up the account with. So I'm going to take the information I have, y equals mx plus b, and I'm going to substitute in for y, mx, and to solve for b. Now I have my m, so I just need an x and a y. Well, I've got an x and a y right here. That's an x and that's a y. So I'm going to substitute those things in for y, m, and x. So y, I'm going to use 575. And I could have used this other pair over here, but I just went with the smaller numbers, make things a little bit simpler. But you would get exactly the same answer. The m, which my m in this case, is 25. So I'm plugging in 25 times x, which the x that I'm using here is 3. And then that's going to be plus b. So I'm saying that in 3 months, I'd saved $575, or Jesus had saved $575 by saving $25 per month. We just want to know where he started at. Well, 575 25 times 3 would be 75. Right, so if we counted $75 back from 575, we would be at 500. Right. So to put all of that together, so we know our slope, we know he saved $25 a month, we know the y-intercept, right, that's our b. So we want to put those two things together, so our equation would be y equals 25x plus 500. That would be our final answer. Now let's kind of interpret the next part of this. It says write an interpretation for the slope and y-intercept. So we've come up with the numbers, but it's important that we can do the math, but it's also important that we're able to kind of interpret what that actually means. So again, the m represents the rate of change, how it's changing. The b represents the starting point. So if I have a y-intercept of 500, that means that he opened his account. So we could say Jesus opened his account with $500 and then saved. The slope represents how it's changing. So if you have a slope of 25, that means he was saving $25 per month. So Jesus opened his account with $500 and saved $25 per month. And so we're doing this in context. Hopefully, don't think of this as a word problem. We're not trying to make it more difficult. If anything, we're actually trying to make it easier for you because we actually have a context to work with. So these numbers hopefully have some meaning. 500 means he opens the account with $500. 25 means how much he's saving. So hopefully the context helps us make some understanding out of all of this. All right, so go ahead and pause now and try number 1 on the right side. All right, let's check your work for number 1 on the right side. Should have got y equals 100x plus 200. The interpretation on this would be that Luis started the account with $200, and then he saved $100 per month. So that would be the I didn't write it out, but that would be the interpretation there. Luis opened the account with $200 and saved $100 per month. All right, so that finishes up number 1. Let's go ahead and take a look at number 2.